Troy Galloway is a construction manager and consultant, commercial and residential builder, and a certified inspector for all commercial and residential buildings. And now, here is About the House with Troy Galloway.
Hello, folks. Welcome back to About the House. This is your audio university of knowledge on everything about your home, from construction to maintenance, remodeling to real estate and investing. And through the blessing of the answer, we have an awesome Forever Library, the podcast that you can always go through, because we each and every week we always have specific subjects or something or trades that we're trying to share and educate the people with. This is an educational program, and which we also try to make it a fun educational program. So you can always go back and hit the specific targets. We just so much information that you're never going to get it all in one time. So that's what really makes this really awesome. It helps out with the thing. So get your pen and paper. We're going to have a great show today. This is your humble host, Troy Galloway. I am the owner of Galloway Building Services. Jay, just like this show, there isn't another company in the Midwest that provides the unique services that we do for people throughout the Midwest every day. We help people with construction consulting. If you have any questions of how your job is being done, whether it's being done right or not, you give us a call. We do new construction inspections as well as remodeling construction inspections. We do commercial and residential building inspections. So if you are, selling and buying a building and you want to make sure you're getting, what you're getting, then give us a call. We take care of it. We walk you through it. Take our time. People tell us all the time how much they just really enjoy it, because it's not just the bad things of it. We try to educate you of the good, bad, and ugly. We also do construction conflict resolutions by being an expert construction witness, and we have working with other attorneys that can come in and help you do any litigation work. And so if you got a contractor and he just is not wanting to do the job right, and you just know it, and he's just being a bully trying to force you into pay, you give us a call. We come in there and take care of that probably pretty quickly. We're usually the last word on that. But also not just that, if you're a contractor and you got a customer that maybe the neighbors come over there, hey, we all got one of these neighbors, right? He knows everything except for what he's talking about, and he's in there saying this isn't right, that isn't right, and now your customer is all upset and doesn't want to pay you. You give us a call. We come in, review it. Because I've been in the construction field now for over 42 years, we know that the world's not perfectly round. We also understand what's going on, so as we can talk to your customer and help them out. And we've been doing this now in Missouri and Illinois for over 35 years, and I've been in the business now for over 42 years. So our motto is that making sure that your job is being done right. You're getting what you paid for, and you're not getting ripped off. So with that being said, we are going to keep on moving along here, and I do want to give a quick shout out to one of our premier sponsors, J&H Properties. And J&H Properties, they are a real estate broker company. Just people brag about them all the time. I get people call me up, say, I'm really glad that you introduced us to that company. They because they take their time. You work with the same person all the way through. You don't get passed off. And when you get them, the emotional times, you give them a call. They'll talk to you. They're your friends. They're helping you out, making sure you get the best opportunity for you. So give them a call. That phone number is 314-602-4835. 314-602-4835. All right, well, folks, today not only I got a great show that we're getting ready to do here, and it's something people have been asking over and over again. And when we had this kind of like this format here a few weeks ago, questions that people reach out on our Facebook page and our Galloway Building Services email or web page, also a great place to ask questions. And they've been asking, hey, we love that show so much. We want you to come back and do it again. So I wanted to come back in here and kind of just answer some of the questions that we found. So anyway, one of the questions that I have actually that comes up and it's come up pretty regularly it's because we're finishing up vacation time. Troy, I came back from vacation and my house smelled really, really bad. but after a while it seemed to have went away. What do you think was causing it? Well, I've seen this a lot of times over the years, especially more for business people, because they don't have you're gone, and they don't have anybody really necessarily coming in and helping out, making sure that the house is being clean or anything. If you got a housekeeper, that's awesome. But what that really is happening is that our traps, our water traps, are getting low or empty. And water traps, actually, which we're going to talk a little bit about that real quick, water traps are that little U-bend in the plumbing that's underneath your sinks. Also, in the basement, underneath they're traps. What they do, they trap the water in the line, which prevents any of the sewer gases to come back up into the home. So what they're smelling is after that water evaporates, is that sewer gas is coming into their home, and the reason that it's going away is because that after a time, you're running your water, you're filling your traps back up. So make sure that you put plenty of water before you leave. Run it, if you're going to be gone for a couple, 2 or 3 weeks, you might ask somebody to come by just to check on the place anyway, and then fill and run all the waters. That's always a great way of doing it. So, as I was talking to him about this, we kind of moved over to S-traps and P-traps. Now, we had a great plumbing special here with Orr Plumbing here a few weeks ago, or I guess a couple of months ago. So you can always go back to that podcast and, check that one out. But just to kind of go over it a little bit, S-traps versus P-traps. There is a difference. And how you can tell by looking at it is an S-trap looks just like an S. And a P, if it looks just like an S, that's what it is. A P-trap looks like a P, the letter P. Now, S-traps are no longer allowed on new construction work because what happens is they had a tendency, not always, but they had a tendency is that when they sucked the water out of it, because once that water flow was going down at a certain amount of velocity, it would just suck the water out and your traps would go dry. So they've kind of went away from anything like that, period. I'm not saying we don't see some of it once in a while, but it's not code compliant, and it definitely is not for new construction. A lot of times on new construction, we go and do a remodeling inspection, construction inspection. And you got somebody that really doesn't know what he's doing. We found him, being installed brand new right on people's, underneath their sinks. So that's why it's another good reason to get your construction inspections. One other thing I want to touch base with is on our lead water lines. Now, we got a great show coming up here from a water expert. But before we get there, I wanted to share with this because, like I said, it's vacation time. People are coming back. Now, we have a lot of lead water lines coming in, a service coming into our home. Yeah, that's right. Actually, lead water lines. Now, it sounds really horrible, and it's really not so good. But if it's maintained correctly, it's not an issue. The water specialist will talk more about that when she's in here. But the main thing to remember is that, for one, you can always take your water to the Board of Health and get it tested. See if you got any kind of lead issues. But the biggest biggest thing that we have is that when you get home, you want to run all your water. Now, it's not just your water lines is coming in. It's also the solder that we used for a long time was lead also. So we had that into the, lead contamination too. So the trick here is that when you come home, don't drink the water. Not only are you trying to fill up your water traps, underneath the sinks and such, but let your water run for 15, 20 minutes. Give that a good flushing, and then your water will be safe from any kind of contamination. So that's a really, really good tip to keep in mind when you're coming back from vacation. We're going to actually go into some other different kinds of inspections, construction inspections, of questions people ask me. The next segments, which are going to be great fun. I think you're going to really, truly just get your pen and paper out, make these notes, contact us through Galloway Building Services Facebook page or our web webpage at www.Galloway Building Services. And we got a lot of different YouTube videos out there to check out. Got a ton of them on our Facebook page also. Things that'll help educate you as far as being on top of what's happening around you. Well, folks, I thank you very much for enjoying this show with me here today. We're going to hit another fabulous segment here in just a few moments. So just come right back. Be ready, pen and paper in hand, and we'll get at it. Thank you, folks, and we'll see you on the flip side.
Sponsored by Troy Galloway and Galloway Building Services, your top choice for professional home inspections in the St. Louis area. GallowayBuildingServices.com. Troy Galloway is a construction manager and consultant, commercial and residential builder, and a certified inspector for all commercial and residential buildings. And now, here is About the House with Troy Galloway.
Welcome, folks, to About the House. We are on our next segment here, and I am so happy that you all came back here and joined with us because we got some really, really neat stuff here that we're going to go into. So, actually, this is a questions, answering the questions that we've been getting over a course of time. And one of the things that we wanted to talk about here is new home construction inspections. Now, we do remodeling, construction, and new home, but I wanted to talk about, a little bit about the new home inspections that we do and some of the things that crazy things that we find, but also things that'll help you whenever you're having your home built, unless you want to hire somebody like us to come in there to help you out. And man, I tell you what, if you go back and look at our Google reviews and listen to what the people have to say about that just makes them, it makes it feel so much more comfortable. And rest assured, what's awesome about this also is that even if your contractor doesn't fix it, he says, well, that's not that big a deal. And I talk to you about it, whether how important it is or not important, but it's an insurance policy. So if that problem comes up and you've already brought it to your contractor's attention and he didn't correct it or he just half corrected it, you actually have documentation how you brought it to him and had a professional look at it. So this is your insurance policy. And we have, like I said on the last segment, we have a ton of YouTube video. I bet we have a couple of hundred or more YouTube videos out there that we probably got another couple of hundred sitting in the bag waiting to be put out and published someday. But and our Facebook videos. And then these are educational videos. They're just short little skits, talks about different subject matters, and the people love them. And I get people from all over the United States reaching out and following these. So I think you'd love them too. But anyway, let's move right ahead here. And so what are some of the issues that I found? Well, one of the biggest things that we do see out here is cracked lumber. Now, what do I mean by cracked lumber? Like your 2x4s, your walls and such, they're split wood. And normally they are a lower grade material that your contractor has bought, honestly, to save money. And he doesn't save a lot of money on it, but he could save a little bit. And why is that important for you? Well, if it's cracked or if it's split all the way through, for one, it's not going to hold a nail very well, right? The nails are going to pop out. We see that's part of the reason we see as many, drywall pops as we do, where the nails pop out of the drywall. So these are things that you want to make sure, and it's going to have creaks and whatnot too, because it's just not solid. So you want to make sure that, hey, not every single piece of wood is going to be perfect, but we want to make sure it's not split all the way in two. So we look at that. That's very important. Then also, too, this is the year that we've had a lot of rain. And a lot of our construction buildings out there they just been blasted with water. They just, we always have a rainy season, and the builders said, hey, God bless us, we have to work. But we also have to be smart about what and how we're doing it. And we have to be intelligent enough to know that we have a rainy season. We have to work at a different type of management of our construction processes than we do in the dry times. So we're going to talk a little bit, because we've had so much rain, some of the things that we want to be looking at, like our subfloor. So like our subfloors have a lot of them are particle board now, OSB type material, and not necessarily a particle board per se is what furniture would be, but it's a bunches of chip wood put together. And what happens is that they are not, moisture gets into it, and you see what pressed wood does, and then it swells and it starts to delam. And so what happens is then it's soaking wet. We put it down on our floors, and then when it starts to dry, which naturally it will, then you're going back to shrinkage. Then when you get the shrinkage, then you got some other issues of loose connections and such. So you want to make sure that any way possible they keep them floors dry. Now, I also know that there is a subfloor out there that they claim, and it does work to a certain extent, that it's supposed to repel water. But I got too many videos out there showing that I wouldn't count on that to be the last resort whatsoever. So you want to make sure that you take care of that. One of the other things that we talk about here is when with our wet lumber. Okay, so we got our plates, our walls that sit on top of our subfloor. We want them to sit flush on the subfloor. Now, if that subfloor shrinks, you're going to have gappage. Sometimes we got bows and such, which you can't help, crowns and humps a little in our building material. That's common, but that too causes where we have some gaps in the floor. A lot of folks don't realize this, but I was taught this by a great troubleshooter. I can't mention his name now, but because he works for another company over in Illinois, but one of the top troubleshooters at closing homes. So when we had a floor squeak, he showed me that what happens is that you got to get into that wall and set that plate down to the wall, or if the studs have a gap at the top or bottom, you got to shim that, because as it moves, that's creating a squeak. So everybody seems to think them floor squeaks are just only from in the middle of the floor. Not so true. A lot of them are back here on the walls, and it's from the shrinkage and such. So these are things you want to be watching for. Make sure that some floors are sitting, and if it's a hump in it, you're not going to make that hump go away. A crown in your lumber, it's not going to make that go away. So we just shim it. Just get a couple of shims and some wood glue. You shim it up so it makes it flow. It's not going to move. No problems. There's ways of taking care of it. Also, another thing that we catch a lot when we're doing these new construction or even remodel inspections, construction inspections, is the walls are not properly nailed together. You know what? I've got a lot of times I actually catch these walls are not even nailed together at all. They're just butted up, and the guy just moved on and totally forgot. Well, these are the little tiny things that will cause you to have a lot of grief, a lot of heartache at your very brand new home, because of this. So you want to make sure, just an extra set of eyes looking at the project. So you want to make sure that that's all taken care of also. And it's got the proper nailing processes that's been put out or put into it. Also, another one of the things that we observe a lot, and this is, I for the life of me cannot even understand how this happens, is that we literally have gaps underneath our windows. Brand new construction. Now, if it's new construction, it's easier to catch because you can literally see the daylight underneath them. So just get down and look through it and see, what if you see anything. Now, the old days, we always used to set our windows on shims, and so as that they was properly braced. But with the new vinyl windows, they're not as heavy, and the guys are just running right on through. So want to make sure that that's sealed underneath there. from not necessarily from the outside, but from the inside, so as that moisture doesn't get into it. There's ways you could seal it. I would recommend that you would use, possibly like a non-expandable foam. There's two different types of insulation foam: expanding foam, which what that does is it goes into the crevices and expands and fills it up, and non-expanding, so as it doesn't put pressure on and around your window or your doors. So make sure that you could seal around it with that. Another test that you can do too is that if it's closed up enough at this time, take you a candle or a cigarette lighter or Bic lighter or whatever. I guess nobody really smokes anymore. But take that around and see if you get any kind of breeze around your windows. Because these are going to, the insulators, if they stick fiberglass insulation in there, well, that's, we'll talk about insulation in another that's a whole other subject. But that's a good way of testing that to make sure. Hey, folks, we are wrapping up a segment. I guess I just got so interested in my own talk this time. I do that all the time with everybody else, but this is really good stuff, and I know that you're enjoying it. So we will come back to this new construction inspection, some of the things that we're looking for in the next segment. Hey, thank you for listening. We really appreciate it, and we will see you on the other side. Thank you.
Sponsored by Troy Galloway and Galloway Building Services, your top choice for professional home inspections in the St. Louis area. GallowayBuildingServices.com.
Welcome back, folks, to About the House. This is your humble host, Troy Galloway, owner of Galloway Building Services, and I am in the middle of talking about construction inspections. But I want to reach out here before I go any further. I want to give a great shout out to a dear friend of mine, Jacob Abraham. He is one of our premier sponsors. Jacob is a hardwood flooring specialist, third generation. His company is just absolutely awesome. The guys care. Jake's on the job. He's watching it. Yeah, nothing slips by because his father and his grandfather taught him the work ethics. They show up, but also the little secrets that makes for a quality job. So give him a call. It's Jacob Abraham of Classic Flooring Solutions, and their number is 314-302-7222. That's 314-302-7222. All right. Well, let's just move right back in here to our construction inspections. And when we was on windows, as we just left the last segment, I just kind of want to finish up a little bit with the flashing around the windows, because this is a big argument out there, and there shouldn't be any argument with the contractors versus the people buying the home, because you can Google what I'm talking. You can pull up the manufacturer specifications to see what I'm telling you is absolutely a fact. So what we have today is we have this butyl rubber type of flashing tape. Great stuff. And how we like to see that is on your window flange. That's the nail bar that they nail these windows in. Now, you can't do this in remodeling because that's a different animal, but we'll talk about that in another time. But you just tape that, and I would love to see that you actually tape the bottom first, the bottom nailing flange, and then you tape both sides of the window flange and have the sides overlap the bottom, and then go up on top and put another tape across it. Now, then, personally, if you're using Tyvek tape, this is not something you have to do, but I promise you you're going to be happy in the long run you did. Then you tape that window flange up, and then you put your Tyvek tape over your Tyvek wrap, that their house wrapping that we put around that of your home, which that's another subject we'll be talking about another day, and then tape that, but have that tape overlap both of the sides. Think about it like this, is we got the water coming down, and we want that water to get everything we can do to get that water away from the sides of the home. You got siding? Yes. But siding is not keeping all of that moisture and air from coming into your home. So these are great ways of making sure We talked about the candle a few minutes ago. We want to talk about, they want to make sure that, that's our lighter. You want to make sure you take care of that. All right. So we will jump right over here. And then, so some of the things that some of these stories, you just got to see this on these videos because they're almost hard to believe. One time I found a job that we was doing, and actually the owner of this house, he's listening to the show right now, so he'd testify. Actually, several of the people are listening that we've done these inspections for. The steel beam that's supporting the house was over a foot short. That means that that floor was just literally hanging out there. Well, that just I don't even know what to say about that. That somebody just, I don't know. I just let that go. That's just ignorant. But anyway, we're going to move. I get in trouble every time I say that. Anyway, so we're going to keep on moving. And some of the things that we also want to be looking at is that it is summertime here right now. But in the wintertime when we're doing our backfills, you want to make sure you're not putting frozen dirt into it. Backfilling with frozen clods. For one, them big old heavy clods hit that foundation. It could put some little substructure cracks into it, which could turn into some crackage issues in the future. But also, you want to make sure that we call it the over dig. That's that area that the guys can walk around the foundation before they fill it in. Make sure you get all your trash out of there, all your wood out of there. What that is termite food. And there's no reason to feed the termites. We got a big enough problem in this, in the Midwest with that. We don't need to help ourselves by feeding the dadgum things, and we got a guy coming in here talking a little bit about that in a few weeks. So catch that show. I won't steal any of his thunder, but also too here, this is one of the things I want to talk about real quick because it is the wet. We've been so wet is shingles going on wet plywood. If you put your sheathing up there, a lot of it's OSB board, that's your strand board, particle board type material, and will you trap that moisture in there so you got one side is wet, one side is damp? Common sense says that's not going to work very good. So the roofers just want to make sure that they start from the sunny side, let it dry, and if they had to push snow off of it, you don't want that's still wet. You can't do that. You got to shove ice off of it. You can't do that. Just got done raining the day before. Let it be on the dry side. So because that's going to cause you some delamination. It's going to cause you a lot of grief and then some roofing issues that we can't afford. Well, folks, hey, this segment's wrapping up pretty quick here, so I am going to have to let you go. Thank you for listening. We will catch you on the other side. We got a whole bunch more to go. Thanks.
Sponsored by Troy Galloway and Galloway Building Services, your top choice for professional home inspections in the St. Louis area. GallowayBuildingServices.com.
Welcome back, folks, to About the House. This is your humble host, Troy Galloway, owner, Galloway Building Services. We are a construction consulting and inspection company. We do engineering inspections as well as new construction and any if you're buying or selling a home. And we are in the middle of talking about new construction inspections right now, which is really, we are probably the only company that does this in the Midwest. Now, I think there's some guys out there that, that try to do it, but they don't have the construction experience, and they just probably, and so they really don't know these little tiny things that make such a big difference. Actually, you're probably going to know more about a lot of that stuff listening to this show than they'll ever know. So that's why I want to go back and check the podcast, download it, keep it for your library also. So we're going to move right along over here and some of the things that we find in our new construction inspections. Also, we're going to kind of wander into some of the others here, remodeling inspections too, because they start to blend together here where we're at. But bathroom exhaust fans. Now, we call them fart fans, but they really are, they may be used for that, but that's really not what they're for. They're moisture control. And so as that, it keeps the moisture from mold and mildew happening inside and any kind of deterioration from that in your home. So that's a great way of taking care, of doing that. Now, how could that fan be installed incorrectly? Well, there again, check out our videos, but if they have too much of an angle on the piping, exhaust piping going out. Well, every time you have an angle, that is a certain amount of air restriction. It cuts down on your airflow. Well, we're trying to get this moisture out. And we also, every one of these sharp angles or elbows also is another place that catches dust. I have literally experienced where they have had so much water and moisture issues that it literally drips back into the home. So that's very important that you do check that out and just make sure, hey, if that's the only problem that you have, just snap a picture of it, send it to us over here on our Facebook or our webpage, and I won't charge that, and I'll say, no, that's not right, or that's looking good. That's what you want to be looking for. So we're going to move over here to final inspections. Now, this is in remodeling, construction, and also new home construction inspections. But some of the things that you're going to want to look at is scratches in the glass. These are brand new windows. Nobody's scratching the glass on purpose, but sometimes coming out of the factories, they get banged up, and believe it or not, they are literally scratched. So after they get final cleaned, you'll be able to take a look at it. Take a few minutes, take a look, see how they're looking, make sure they're not scratched. But now this is where the ones we actually get most of our scratches, and that's our countertops. All people, what they do, and I don't understand this lack of care on the construction guys' part. They literally put their tools up there on our countertops, sharp instruments, hammers and whatnot, screwdrivers, screws, and like I said, check out our videos. I got pictures of this stuff. I hate saying it over and over again, but folks, it's just so bizarre. It's like, I can't believe anybody would do that. Well, they do it all the time. So you want to make sure how you do it. I just take a flashlight and kind of go over it and look for any kind of minor scratches. They could be corrected, but you want them corrected before you move in so nobody blames you. So you want to look at the scratches. Here's another one, too, is in our showers and our bathtubs. If they are not covered and protected during the course of the inspection or the whole construction process, they have a tendency to really get destroyed and chipped and scarred up. Drywallers are in there hanging. They're standing in your bathtub, right? They're standing there with their muddy boots and their shoes on. They drop nails. They drop their hammer. That all happens. They working. The plumbers are in there. They just put their equipment up there on top of it, and something drops. These parts are not cheap anymore. And what happens is, if you don't catch them on the final walkthrough, well, your builder is going to say you did it, so you own it now. You don't want to own that. So want to make sure you take care of these kind of things right here. And I want to jump right over here too. Some of the things that we also see in remodel inspections. And I know this person's going to say, that's me, because they're listening. She's listening to this show right now. And we all know, everybody knows, the contractor's also listening to this show right now, so he knows. So we did an inspection on a project, and it was, they owed $80,000 at the completion of the project. And it was not just roofing, but siding and other things that they did. Well, literally, we got up there and found they sold them a 30-year roof. And they would put 10-year roofing components on it. Now, how in the world would you ever know, if you didn't have a professional looking at it, if there was 10-year components? The caught dead in the act, trying to save money. And you all know who it is out there, so we're not going to mention names, but we know. I don't think that'll ever happen again, at least with them folks. But also, too, flashing that's running backwards. It literally, every time it rained, the flashing drove the water into the house instead of exterior. Also, we had one that they literally disconnected the chimney pipe. So when it's coming out of your furnace, so that poisonous gas was literally going into the home. Hey, these are just little things that nobody thinks about. That's why you hire a professional to come in, take a look, make sure that you're getting what you paid for. You're not getting ripped off, and that's what we try to specialize in. And that's why we get such great rave reviews for people every day because of this. We literally are there to watch your back. Well, folks, thank you for listening. We will catch you on the other side. We appreciate your time.
Sponsored by Troy Galloway and Galloway Building Services, your top choice for professional home inspections in the St. Louis area. GallowayBuildingServices.com.
Welcome, folks, back to About the House. This is your humble host, Troy Galloway. This is our last segment, and I've really enjoyed speaking with everybody, talking to you today about construction and remodeling inspections. And, I literally could go on and on and on about these things. So we do teach construction classes at the college. Next week, when we come back in, we'll start talking about the dates and such, and go out there on our webpage and go out there on our Facebook page, and we'll talk about how to register for the classes. They're really informational. I try to take this short period that I have to share with you folks here on the radio and kind of condense it to what we do teach in the classroom. But that's a great place to learn. And also, you're getting to sit with a lot of other people that's kind of like-minded like yourself, and they're in the process of trying to do some things. And, when we all put our heads together, it's a great way we all learn. Also, too, as I wanted to do a little bit of people ask for years, I always get asked, who is the best contractors? Who would you refer out here? Well, times ebb and flow. Right now, good contractors, if they're trying to grow too fast, are collapsing. Not that they wasn't really good, for your friend or your buddy, but there's nobody, they just, times are good, and it's, labor's hard to find. So some of these guys are falling apart. So what we have done to help you is that we're on our web page, and we're going to also be putting it on our Facebook page, is a preferred list of contractors, people that I know personally, people that I work with, some of the people that's been on this show, that want to be preferred like that, and be put out. That's a great way. It doesn't cost you anything to go check it out. Also, I know them. If you have any questions, you could talk to me about it. Also, if they've done a bad job, you got somebody you can contact me. We'll see if we can't make sure it gets squared away. It's a great resource to do. And that's on our preferred list of contractors on our webpage. But while we're talking about preferred list of contractors, let me give a good shout out here to one of our sponsors, J&H Properties. Real estate broker, agents, I cannot even begin to tell you all the great things people say about these folks. They're just easy to talk with. They're there for you, if it's late at night or early in the morning, when your emotions are running high, they're there to make sure. I've literally seen them where they said, hey, this is just not a good deal for you. Think about it. They're not trying to take your money. They're trying to put you in a good home. So give them a call. J&H Properties, their phone number is 314-602-4835. That's 314-602-4835. And just like our list of vendors that we have, J&H Properties will do the same thing for you. Tell them you heard them on the radio show. Also, too, same with Jacob Abraham and Classic Flooring, hardwood floor specialist. Tell them that you heard us on the radio show. You'll get a discount. You'll get some help. They'll go above and beyond. You're going to get service that you can't get anywhere else. And while we're doing that, let me give a shout out here to Jacob too, because I just love that young man. I shouldn't say young man. Everybody's young. When you get my age, everybody's young. But Jacob, he is a great guy to work with, and I know somebody that he'll take his time and work with you too. And his phone number is 314-302-7222. But all of the guys on our and gals on our Facebook page are that you see that comes on to it, and also on our podcast. Tell them about the radio show. They've all promised they'd give you a discount, help you out, give you something special that nobody else can. So anyway, folks, thank you for listening to About the House with Troy Galloway, myself, and I really do appreciate your time. God bless you all.